This week on Inside Albania, I'm joined by Sara Payman, a British woman who's been living in Albania for nearly 2 years. She is known for singing Albanian songs and playing Albanian music on social media and throughout the country. And I wanted to interview her to find out why you're living in Albania and what has inspired you to take on Albanian music. I'm also joined by a very special and very young guest. Nina Ismalaj is a 9-year-old girl from Kosovo. Now, she has a level of intelligence which is in the top 1% globally. I wanted to find out from Nina what she loves, what her ambitions are, what her hobbies are, and what it's like to be one of the most smartest people in the world. Sara Payman is a British woman who's been living in Albania. Now, she's made a name for herself by performing Albanian songs in Albanian on social media and on lots of TV channels, and now in live settings as well. She's completely immersed herself in the country. She's learned the language better than me, and she's been here for less time. And I want to find out from her what she loves about being in Albania. Sara, welcome to Inside Albania.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, first things first, let's get this out of the way, because I know this is a question that everybody always asks, but for those who don't know, why did you come to Albania? How long have you been here?
So my husband grew up in Albania, and he always wanted to move back to Albania. So he left to study in England, and that's kind of where we got to know each other. But he always said that he wanted to move back to Albania. So I came to visit because I barely even heard of it, and I knew nothing about it. So I came to visit. And I just fell in love as soon as I saw the beautiful view of the mountains when I came off the plane. I was like, wow, this is an amazing country. And we went traveling a little bit. And I was like, this is gorgeous. And I see no reason why I can't move here. Yeah. So we came to try it out for a bit. And the more I stayed, the more I fell in love. So it's been about 1.5 years now that I've been in Albania, but we do go back and forth quite a lot as well. So once a month or once every 2 months, we go back to England.
Now, one of the questions I always get asked in interviews, and I'm sure you've been asked as well, but you probably haven't been asked in English, is what were your preconceptions before you came here and how have those changed? Like, for example, when I came here, it was like last minute, so I didn't really have time to have any preconceptions. But I remember the people I told, you know, well, I'm going to Albania, they're like, oh my God, be careful. Do they have electric there? Is it safe? You know, you're going to get kidnapped.
Yeah,
and then
right.
Obviously I got here and within like a day was like, wow, I want to spend the rest of my life here, you know? And I'm wondering if you had any reservations or ideas of what the country would be like and how that has evolved over time.
Yeah, well, first, I mean, I knew hardly anything, but what I did know, or at least had heard, I thought it was a country, like very much a developing country, kind of half in poverty. I was expecting like rubble streets.
Well, if you go...
Yeah, that's true. There are some for sure.
But there's elections now, so they're all going to be paved over.
Yeah. Well, so my mum's from India, and I've been to India a few times. And in my mind, I was expecting kind of that level of poverty in some areas. And to be fair, there are some areas that are like that. But if you're walking through Tirana, it's nothing like that. I mean, it's cleaner than London in most places, to be honest. You have everything you need. You can buy anything you need. I didn't expect that either. And the other thing that I'd heard, unfortunately, is that there's this prejudice in England that all Albanians are criminals.
Yeah, of course. I've been battling it, you know, against me versus the British media for a few years now.
Yeah, I've heard, yes.
Did you feel safe here as well as a woman?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I grew up in Cambridge in the UK, which is a relatively safe part. I mean, it's a university town. It's full of academics. So it's relatively safe. Even then, though, at night, if I was walking in the dark, I don't know, past 10 p.m., I would still be kind of, you know, looking over my shoulder. I wouldn't have my phone out. I'd be very alert.
Yeah.
Here, I mean, I can walk freely. I can have my phone out, have Google Maps.
We don't even think about it, do we?
Yeah, I don't even need to think about it. It's amazing. Yeah, I feel totally safe as well.
Now, you speak Albanian better than me, okay?
No,
I've been here for like 8...
No,
you do. Like, okay, I find it very difficult to learn languages anyway. It's a hard language. I'm wondering, how have you learned Albanian? Like, and what have the biggest challenges been?
Yeah, so in the beginning, when I first got married to Naim, we would be sitting in the car. This was back in England, and he just point to random things on the road and say the name in Albanian and be like, repeat after me. So I just learned a few words here and there. And then when I got here, I was sort of just immersed in it. And every time we would meet somebody, although they spoke English, he would force them to speak in Albanian. He'd be like, no, Sara needs to learn, so just please speak to her in Albanian. And at the beginning, I hated it. I mean, to be honest, I still do, because I can't express myself at all. So I feel like a 2-year-old. Like I can't.
That's why we use the hands a lot.
Yeah.
I've seen videos of me giving interviews. Like, we've both been interviewed by Blendy Frymëzim, and I'm there doing all this, you know. But when I speak in English, like I'm doing now, I sit, my hands are.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? But it's because we don't have the same range of words to express ourselves with. So I think we overcompensate.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it was a real struggle. It still is a struggle. I think because I had studied Latin at school, I was at least familiar with cases. So like nominative, accusative, the emorore causore. If I hadn't been exposed to that, I think I'd be much further back in my progress now. I think that did help a lot.
But like Albanian, I just find is unnecessarily complicated. Like you have, you know, specific words for when you're surprised. Like, you know, if you're surprised about something, the words you use change. Like just, it's not just male, female, past, present, continuous, you know, if you're surprised. But who judges whether you're surprised or not? And also using you, which is plural, but then you can also use it for someone who is very high profile. But if they're not actually high profile enough and you use it, it's disrespectful. And my teacher is like, do you understand? I'm like, yeah. No, I think I'm having lessons and it does help, but the best way is practice and immersion.
I think so, yeah.
Because you can learn all these rules and things, but unless you're applying them. But the other problem I have is, and this happens quite a lot, I'll go into a shop or a cafe and I'll, you know, roll out my best Albanian and they'll speak back to me in English. And I'm like, okay, right, I see what's happening here. Okay, you practice your English on me and I'll practice my Albanian on you.
Yeah, exactly. Or actually the other thing that happens to me sometimes is I'll start in Albanian because I'll go in very confident, like, yes, I can do this. And then they'll speak back in completely normal speed, fluent Albanian. And then I won't understand it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not that fluent.
I look like an idiot now. And you're like, backing away from the conversation
It's like,
slowly.
I wish I had never started in Albanian.
I've dug myself a big hole here. Because they're obviously like, oh, brilliant, she's fluent. Look how nicely she speaks. And then you're like, I'm sorry, I don't know. But I get it sometimes in interviews. They'll ask me a question. I'm like, great, I understood that. And I'll talk with terrible grammar for 20 minutes. And they'll be like, ask me another question. I'm like, what? You know, I haven't even understood the question.
Exactly,
It's confusing. Okay, so based on that, you've prepared a little game for us to test our ability of pronouncing certain Albanian words.
Indeed,
We're going to embarrass ourselves on television.
So, okay, I don't know about you, but for me, the ch and ch, so for English, Q and C with the little squiggle, I really struggle with that.
Yes. So my partner's surname is Brace. Okay, so imagine, I can't even pronounce his surname. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Exactly. So this is a tongue twister based on the ch, the Q sound. Okay, so first I'm going to read it. Okay. Slowly. And, well, you can tell me what you think it means, firstly.
Oh, good.
I'm going to pronounce this horribly. Qeni I qaniut e karqimen e kuqe.
The cheni of the dog of someone has red hair.
Exactly, the dog of Chani.
Chani, okay.
Yeah, has red hair. Okay, so now the challenge is to say this as fast as possible, basically.
But I need to read it because I can't remember that. Can I? This is not going to be one of those tongue twisters where I accidentally insult someone's mother or...
Oh dear, I hope not.
We might...
I have passed it.
Because you know we have those in English where...
True.
You end up saying, like, Peter Piper picked a pickle pepper, for example, and you accidentally... Qenie qanuite ka qimene kuqa.
Ba.
Qenie qanuite ka qimene kuqa. Qenie qanuite ka qimene kuqa.
Oh, you're good. You're good. Wait, I have to see it as well. Yeah. Okay. Qenie qanuite ka qimene kuqa. Qenie qanuite ka E karçime ne kuç. Oh yeah, it's the because well, Naim taught me you have to use like roll your tongue at the back of I don't know.
Like, we don't have that in English.
Yeah,
do we?
exactly.
It doesn't exist. It's just ch. You know. So if we accidentally insulted anyone with our pronunciation, then I do apologise.
Fun.
Now, do you plan on living in Albania long term? Is this your sort of long term plan, or is it a for now plan, or do you just not know yet?
So it is meant to be a long-term plan. We would both like to stay here long-term and raise our family here eventually. Yeah, it's just at the moment, because I'm a dentist, and at the moment I'm still working a little bit in England. The reason being, here I can't find a part-time job, and because I'm also trying to be a singer, I don't want to work full-time as a dentist. I like to do both.
Yes.
So yeah, right now I'm working as a singer here and then going back a few days to work as a dentist in the UK.
Can you practice here as a dentist? Or do you
I
have
can
to?
actually, yeah, I've got my license. It took a while to get there. I had to do the language exam and sort out a whole load of documents.
Is that the same one I did?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is it B2?
Horrible, awful, evil
Yeah,
thing.
the grammar questions was
My
so...
Albanian friends didn't know the answers to some of the
Yeah,
questions.
right. Yeah, exactly. I think because you don't learn those things like that. If you're immersed as well, if you're learning by immersion, you're not learning like what case was this word.
No, that's the thing. I've learned like some grammar I get correct. But I've learned that not because I understand like why. I've learned it because I've learned the context from people, from listening, and then I sort of subconsciously apply it.
Exactly, yeah.
There's no method behind it. It's all accidental. So you could technically practice here or set up something.
I could, yeah. Yeah.
So you would like to raise a family here. It's a great place to raise a family.
I think so, for sure, yeah.
Now, you've made a name for yourself singing Albanian songs on social media. Beautifully, I may add. You've been on TV. You've even been with famous singers and performing live across the country. How is it when you rock up to some place to give a concert and there's a British woman singing Albanian songs perfectly, but also beautifully as well? Like, you have an incredible voice, but like your pronunciation and the way you deliver the songs is like you're Albanian, you know?
Thanks
So what's the reaction you get from people when this happens?
Yeah, so I think...
Because there's only one of you doing this, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think people are quite impressed for a start. I mean, so sometimes I'll just be singing in the background in like a bar or a restaurant, and I'll just be singing English songs like jazz or whatever, and then I might just throw in an Albanian one, and I'll noticeably see like all the heads turn, all the cameras coming out. They're just like really shocked, I guess, that I sing, and then they often come up to me after and they're like, how do you know that song or whatever. But I mean, truly it helps me learn Albanian. I think that's probably another reason why I've maybe advanced quicker than some other foreigners, is because I memorize certain phrases that I've learned from song. So, and I sometimes translate English songs to Albanian.
Yes.
And that helps me learn,
of course,
as well. And also just get the intonation and the pronunciation as well. So, yeah.
I'm curious as well. I play the piano and things. I'm not as good as you, but I did study classical music for many, many years. And I found it quite difficult. Like, I can hear a song and just play it, but I find this a lot harder with Albanian music, and even when I'm learning Albanian songs, I find them harder to memorize. And I think this is because the structure, the way the music's written, the notes, the chord, everything it's different to Western European music that I was taught when I was a music student. And I'm wondering, what's your view on that? Is that just I'm imagining that, or I've put sort of a false obstacle there? But have you found it difficult to adjust to this very different style of music?
Yeah, definitely. At the beginning, so in Western music, it's often based around 4 chords. With Albanian music, actually, it's not too different. It's just that it's usually based around minor chords, and Western music is often more major, I guess, more, And the other thing that I really struggled with as well is memorizing words, because often they're not usual words that you would use in Albanian, or they're like old Albanian, or for example, like Shkodran accent, like bilbil will be bulbul, like things like that. So then I often don't know the meaning at the beginning, and I have to kind of research a little bit to find out what the inside meaning of the song is. So yeah, it is challenging.
I think even the way that people sing in Albanian, the vocalizations, the way the notes carry on at the end, this is different to how, we were taught.
Exactly, yeah. It's very melismatic, which basically is a fancy way of saying there's a lot of trills within the notes, like rather than just straight, which is actually not too different to Indian music. Not that I sing Indian music, but I've heard it a little bit, at least because my mum sometimes plays it in the house. And yeah, the kind of melismatic form of the notes is similar in a way, yeah.
But now I've got a bit more used to it, and I really love listening to it.
Yeah.
And I think it helps me as well to learn just listening to it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Things, especially children's songs from my daughter. So now you're going to play for us in a minute. I wanted to ask you, what's your favourite song in Albanian? I don't know if it's the same as what you're going to play, but tell me, what's your favourite song in Albanian and why?
I think, so it's not the one I'm going to play, but probably Valsi Lumturis by Vachezela. I think it's just such a beautiful, grand waltz. The way she sings it is incredible. I mean, her voice, just her presence was amazing. No wonder she's a legend in Albania. And it's also, because a lot of songs are quite sad or, I don't know, about all the troubles that Albania's been through. This one's just a nice celebration, very happy about spring and yeah. So I think Valsi Lumturis by Vachezela.
And you want to be, a singer, you are a singer, but you're pursuing a career in singing. Can you tell me a bit more about that and what your plans are?
Yeah, so I never thought that I would pursue a career in singing. I always just thought I'd be a dentist and maybe have singing as a hobby. Albania's really opened that door for me. So I've recorded a few tracks of my own, and I'm also learning more Albanian songs, building a bit of a repertoire, trying to get gigs at restaurants, bars or hotels. I've been writing to like every single hotel or restaurant that I can find to ask if they want some live singing. Also been meeting musicians. Every time I perform at an event is an opportunity to network and maybe get another gig from that. So yeah, I'm trying to build it up organically through that way. And then sometimes I get lucky and somebody notices me on Instagram and messages me and invites me through that as well. That's how it started, to be honest.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm building it up that way.
Great. Now the most exciting bit of the interview that I've been looking forward to as well. Not that the rest wasn't, but you're going to play and sing a song for us today. Can you tell me what it is, why you chose it? I asked for it to be a surprise and a crowd pleaser. Actually, I think the word I used was banger.
Yeah.
But yeah, the name of the song and why you've chosen it.
So this is Moje Bukur Amore. Firstly, I think it's definitely a banger because the end bit with the Elu Lelu really gets the crowd going.
It does.
I also think it's just got such a beautiful tune at the beginning. It's very melodious.
It gets inside your head as well, this tune. It's
Exactly.
really...
And I've heard you play it as well very beautifully on the piano.
You're going to put me to shame
In fact,
now.
you should play it for me.
No. Well, maybe we should have planned this a bit better.
Yeah.
I could have played the piano and you could have sung. Next time. Okay, the stage is yours.
Moje bukur amore, si të lash e mos të pash, si të lash, si të lash, si të lash e mos të pash. Hey, lule, lu. Hey, lule, lu. Hey, lule, lule, matza, matza. Hey, unë për ty. Hey, unë për ty. Hey, unë për ty, o dalu baca. Se zemra ime, se zemra ime, se zemra ime jeti vetën.
Don't stop! I was about to get up, and Sarah, that was amazing.
That'll be good.
Do you know the story behind this song?
I mean, I know that it's about my beautiful More. The old. No, I'm going to butcher this, so just remind me.
Okay, I might also butcher it, but I believe that Morea was a part of Albania, which is now in modern-day Greece.
Yeah.
And the population were forced to leave by the Greeks, and they went to Italy and are part of the Arbresh community.
Okay, yeah.
And they're singing about their longing and missing home, Morea. But this song is like 600 years old as well.
Yeah.
The lule lule bit is not. That's an added. That
exactly.
came
That
later.
comes at the end of many songs, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like an added one, which, you know, I like because, like you said, you're like all sad at first and then, you know, that was beautiful. Sara, you're amazing. If anyone wants to work with Sara, I recommend it, and you can contact her on Instagram. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Now, Nina is from Kosovo, just 9 years old. She has an IQ of 135. To give you an idea, the average IQ is somewhere between 85 and 110. Now, only around 1% of the population have an IQ of 135 or over. Other people, I did a bit of research, who have a similar IQ to Nina include Steve Jobs, the founder of Apple, and Isaac Newton. So she's in good company when it comes to intelligence. She also beats me. Nina, you beat me. I did an IQ test when I was 16. I was 132. So I bow down in your presence today. Nina also qualifies for Mensa, an international society of the 150,000 most intelligent people in the world. Nina has come all the way from Kosovo today to spend time with me and to talk to me about all the things that she loves. And I'm really happy about this. Nina, welcome to my show.
Welcome.
Did you have a good journey to Albania today?
Yeah,
Yeah?
I had a good journey.
Now, I have so many things I want to ask you. And you've brought some things to show me as well, which I'm quite excited about. So can you tell me about a topic or a subject or something you're really passionate about in your life?
Maths and arts.
Mm-hmm.
I like maths because I like to solve problems, and I like arts because I can show my feelings in the pictures, and I only use my imaginary world. None of them are from, like, I never got based on any photo, but I just did it on my own imaginary.
Everything is from in your mind. It's really interesting because normally they say people have, they're either very good at art and, you know, creative subjects, maybe writing, art, drama, music, or they're very good at things like maths and science and subjects like this. But you are very good at all of them. Because I've seen your pictures here. Would you show me your pictures? You brought a selection of them.
Starting with this one, this is my favorite one. One of the top of my favorite ones.
Mm-hmm.
It is a house. Like, it's a little country that I did in my own imaginary. And I did, it took me actually 5 hours to do it.
Wow.
Because of these details.
Mm-hmm.
I changed it like 3 or 4 times because it just didn't match with the other colors.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why it took me a long time.
I love this. I love the striped colours in the background. It's really lovely. I'd like to go to this place. What's next?
These are some fishes.
Mm-hmm.
And I only drew this because I love fish. And I just use my imaginary like I did in that one.
Mm-hmm.
This was actually based on my sister because she also loves fish, and she was like, "Why don't you try drawing fish?" And I was like, "That's a good idea." And I did one on I have a notebook where I do my art and then just do it with colors. And I did this one, and I really liked it.
I like it as well. What's next?
This is my owl. I actually really love fish and owls. So all of my pictures are based on owls, fish, and animals. So this actually took me 5 or 6 hours
Wow.
because of these details.
Yes, I see.
I needed to use crayons, watercolors, pastel colors, and that's why it took me 5 hours. And the last one,
This
it's
was
not
lovely.
actually the last one. This is
Beautiful.
another owl. As I said, it's the favorite animal of me. And I did this because when I was at the zoo, I was at night and I saw an owl. That it was just like this, but when I did, it wasn't orange. It was actually brown. But when I did it, I didn't like the color, and I changed it. I changed it 6 times or 7. So when I did the orange one, I was like, this fits perfectly.
Yes, with the purple at the background, it looks really
Yeah.
cool.
This
What
is
else?
a horse.
Yeah, this is really nice. You like horses?
Yeah,
Yes. Are they? Which do you prefer, though, a horse or an owl?
both of them.
You couldn't choose.
I got really excited when I go horse riding. That's a reason why I did this. And this is a duck, and I brung it to life,
Yes.
just like a boss or something, and it's doing a pose, and I really liked it.
So you enjoy maths, which is obviously more of an academic subject, and you love art, which is also a profession as well. But what other activities do you do in your spare time?
Athletics. I was at swimming, but now I'm not because of the weather. It's cold, and I went to tennis. I actually am going to football,
Ah, great.
and yeah, these.
But I heard you play music as well.
Yeah, I played music. I played the guitar a little bit and the piano.
And how often do you practice? How much do you practice?
2 times at a week. Yeah.
But do you have lessons twice a week, or you practice at home
No,
every
I
day?
have lessons twice a week at Misbah and Friends. It's Misbah and Friends is a music school, and sometimes I practice on my own, even if I actually don't have a piano, but I have a really big iPad where I install pianos and play it on them.
Great. I started playing the violin when I was 4.5, and I studied the violin until I was 16. And I played the piano as well. I had piano lessons, but I had, especially the violin, I had to practice like 2 hours, 3 hours a day sometimes. And my mum would tell me, Alice, you have to practice. And I'm there screeching with my violin, practice makes perfect. Now, I want to ask you, we talked about this a bit when we chatted on the phone before. Being as smart as you are is a wonderful thing. And, you have all these beautiful interests in art, in music, in reading, in academic subjects, but it can be challenging sometimes. It can be a bit difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
We talked about this a bit. And if you can share with me, what for you is one of the most, not difficult, but challenging things about being as smart as you are?
Well, starting off, I don't know what to talk about because lots of my friends talk about films and things while I don't like that. And I don't watch the films that they do. I watch Young Sheldon, and these films that are like me, a bit like me, and I don't have like a friend right now that knows what to talk about with me, but like I I get through it because I'm used to that, so like do not have worries about that.
Yes, it's difficult. I used to have the same problem. I want to talk about classical music or Jane Eyre or something, and my friends were not interested in the same things. They were.
Yeah, my friends always talk about makeup. Well,
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
like makeup, but I also like literature. It was difficult. And at school, is it difficult as well? Because obviously I imagine in school, you know the answers to all the questions.
Yeah.
And I bet the teachers love you as well. Does that bring problems as well?
No.
I mean, with people in the class, do they get jealous of you or
They get jealous, but I don't care because
you
they're
shouldn't?
just mad at themselves because they don't know. And yeah.
Exactly. They're not mad at you. They don't dislike you. They don't have a problem with you. They're just jealous. They're frustrated. So don't ever let it worry you. People should be lucky to know you, Nina, and to be your friend. Now, I wanted to ask as well, what people must, when they hear that you are this intelligent, you have this high IQ and thing, they must be curious. Do they ever ask you funny questions, or do they say, can you tell me the answer to this 50 times 45, or do they ever try and test you or ask you silly questions?
No, actually, they don't because they believe in me. And
Of course.
my aunt, actually, when she heard about it, she was very impressed and she started asking me questions that she didn't even know. So, so she was actually impressed.
So if who needs Google when you have Nina around? We can ask you the answers to the questions. I wanted to ask you as well, in school, do you get bored in the lessons? Like, because you know a lot of it already. Does it ever get frustrating? How do you manage that situation in school if your teacher's teaching you, but you already know the answers or that information?
Well, the language that I actually get bored the most is English because I almost know everything because in a course where I was with teenagers with 19, 18 years old. And like we talk about, in my school, we talk about things that you have and these, I get bored sometimes, but then my teacher sometimes she does some games that are difficult, like a quiz, and then it doesn't get bored. But when it actually gets bored, I just listen and I get through it because I'm used to it, like I said, with my friends.
And I know your father's here, but pretend he's not here. What about with your parents? Because, I have a daughter. She's 5 and she's very smart. And sometimes she asks me things I don't know the answers to. I have to look them up. How do they help you, to stay interested, to pursue your dreams and your ambitions and your hobbies?
Well, let me give you an example. I want since I was little, I wanted to be an astronaut, and I asked some people about it, and they were like, don't ever try to do that. It's hard. And my dad was like, don't listen to them. You're smarter than you think, so you can reach ev- whatever you want. And my mom was also like that. And I am dreaming to be an astronaut.
Good. So you want to be an astronaut
Yeah.
still? Because when we spoke a few days ago, you said, I used to want to be one, but then maybe, it's not the thing for me. So you've changed your mind again now.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Because an astronaut, I think, you have to be very smart to be an astronaut, and you are, so you're fine. But I think what a lot of people don't realize about being an astronaut is it's very physically intense as well. The physical training you have to go through, actually if you're going into space, the impact this has on your body is quite challenging as well. But you did tell me something else when we spoke before that you wanted to be. You had some other ambitions.
I also want to be a doctor. The dream was when I actually turned 6 because my aunt, my cousin actually was a doctor, and she was like, it's a very good job. And I asked her questions, and she all replied to them very good. And I was like, why don't I change my mind and be a doctor? But then I also realized I have a lot of time to think about it.
You do.
So I have two jobs in the future that I want to be an astronaut and a doctor.
But you told me you wanted to be a painter as well.
Yeah,
But
painter.
we can do this part-time, you know, on the side. No, it's true. When I was younger than you, I wanted to be a writer. I used to write poetry and stories. And I told my mum when I was about 5.5, something like around this age, that I wanted her to publish this book for me that I'd written of poems. And she was like, yes, okay, dear. And I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to be on TV. And then, you know, I ended up doing law, which I wasn't really interested in at all, you know. And I had jobs that I didn't like. And now, at the age of 38, because I'm old, I've done all the things. I'm doing exactly all the things I wanted to do when I was 5 years old. That were my dreams. But to get there, I made a lot of diversions along the way and tried other jobs. So yeah, you have a lifetime, and it's never too old to figure out exactly what it is that you want to do. I think the key, and what I tell my daughter as well, is try everything. If you want to do football, let's go to football. If you want to paint pictures, let's paint pictures. If you want to learn Japanese, let's learn Japanese, you know. Try everything, and then you find the things that you want to do. How many languages do you speak, Nina?
I speak Albanian, English, a bit Italian, a bit French, and German.
Which do you find is the hardest out of there?
French.
French.
Yeah.
Really? Why French?
Because some of the words are same, and sometimes I misunderstand them and say the incorrect word. So that's why it's difficult.
I find when French people speak as well, the sentence can sound like one long word, that all the words sort of mix into one, you know, and it can be quite confusing to understand what they're saying. But German is very difficult, I find. German. But yeah, for me, Albanian is the hardest. All the tenses, for me, I get so confused. My teachers, he tells me, you know, this, and this. And then he's like, do you understand? And I'm like, no. So I've learned better just from listening and trying. But you're Albanian, so it's not so difficult for you, I think. Nina, I have a question for you about your future. I'm going to put you on the spot here a little bit. If you could invent something or solve a problem that there is in the world today, what would it be if you had the power to do this?
Since I love animals, I would free all the animals.
Yes.
The birds especially, because they're on cage and they are not free, so that will be the... I also have the wish that I could free all the animals that are in cage, and that is...
Now, we've talked about this as well before, haven't we, about animals? You'd love a pet, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
What kind of pet would you like?
Like cats and dogs.
Yeah. What is there any particular one you prefer over the other, or?
Well, I can choose between them.
It's difficult. I have cats and dogs. I showed you my
Yeah.
dogs. I have rescue ones, and you know, I think having a pet is a very good education as well. I'm saying this, so I hope your parents get you a pet. But it's true. It's a very good education. Like, my daughter's 5 and we have 2 dogs and a cat, and she's learned how to brush them, how to take care of them, when she has to feed them, why she's feeding them, that they need water, that they have to go for walks. It teaches some responsibility, you know, as well. But yeah, it's sad, especially in Kosovo, I think, and Albania. There's a lot of stray animals, dogs with no homes, and I see them and I just think, I want to take you all home, you know. So your dream, if you could, would be to set them all free and have some place where they can all live happily together, and you could go and play with them as well. Is there anything else, any other ambitions you have? You've talked about being a doctor. being an astronaut and painting, but is there anything else you would like to sort of achieve in your life?
Being a gymnast,
A what, sorry?
athletic.
Ah, you do gymnastics.
Yeah.
What kind of, like, somersaults and things like that, or?
I usually do some things that are with jumping, and I'm really good at jumping, but I'm not really good on the procedure that goes. So sometimes I change my mind, but sometimes I get it back. So
Good, keep at it. And what about reading? Do you like to read?
yeah.
Yeah. What are your favorite books?
My favorite book is Alchemiste.
By Paulo Coelho?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ihuaye. And
The foreign-
Encyclopedia Imaginora.
What was the last one?
Encyclopedia Imaginora.
The Imaginary Encyclopedia of Imagination.
Yeah.
Who is that by?
It's by Bayram Kosume, my dad's friend.
Ah, I haven't heard this one, that's why. And what do you like about The Alchemist? Because, I mean, this is one of the most famous books in the world.
Well, it talks about a boy who wants to be big, who wants to achieve big dreams, and he meets a girl, and she says, "I'm gonna tell you what is gonna happen in the future," and this is what goes on.
And what do you like about it?
Well, I like the idea that he doesn't give up, and that gave me the inspiration of not giving up.
Good, it's very important.
And I also like Ihuaye because I liked the boy who actually didn't also give up, and yeah, he did a big mistake, and then he died by himself. He didn't think before the mistake, and yeah.
I want to ask you another question as well as we come to the end of the interview. You have a sister,
Yeah.
a younger sister. What's her name?
Reina,
That's a beautiful name. And how old is she?
6.
And what does she think of? Like, is she involved in your activities and things as well? Do you do things together? Is she sort of interested in books and music and languages like you?
She isn't interested in learning, but she's interested in dancing and doing using her body.
Yeah.
She is very good in athletics. She is actually better than me. And she likes also swimming, and yeah.
And what does she think of your intelligence and everything? Does she support you? Does she
Well,
cheer
she
you on?
supports me. And when I go in interviews, she was like, "Why don't I get to go there?" And I'd be like, "You're gonna go to interviews when you get older." And she was like, "Okay."
Okay, well, you can tell her that when she's a bit older, she can come back and talk about her athletics. Do you think she'd be happy with that?
Yeah, she would be very happy.
That's a promise. We'll do it. We'll do it. Nina, you're amazing. And never give up, like you said, but also don't listen to anybody who has anything negative to say. They're just jealous. It's never about you. It's never personal. But also keep challenging yourself as well. And it's okay to try something and to not like it as well. I've tried many things in my life. I don't like it. You'll find exactly, life will put you in the right lane, so to speak, on the right road, and you'll end up doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing. You're wonderful. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
That's all for this week. You can catch Inside Albania every Saturday at 4 o'clock on Euronews Albania, on our YouTube channel, Euronews Albania, and across all major podcasting platforms. Until next week, Mirapafshim.